sure to check out Ageless Geeks for your figures and collectibles. So what is going on, my fellow collectors? How is everybody doing today? Daredevil19 here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Neca Toys King Kong vs. Godzilla. So let's get into it right away and take a quick look at the box. So we do get the basic style box when it comes to the Neca Toys line. So on the front of the box here, we do get a bunch of very old school images from the original King Kong and Godzilla movie, which I did own on VHS and watched tons of times. So you can see all the images all throughout. It says King Kong vs. Godzilla, and then on the top says Godzilla. Then you can flip this open here. We do have the window displaying the figure and the atomic breath accessory. Then the other side, we do get an image of the figure. You can close that since it is Velcro. Then the bottom of the box here, we do get the barcode and blah blah blah. So nobody cares about. Then here's the top of the box with the warning and blah 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 stuff. Then the one side here, we get some Japanese writing that says King Kong vs. Godzilla on the bottom. And I guess when this released, it was the 65th anniversary of Gojira. And then here is the other side, same thing as the one side. Then the back of it does have a couple images of Godzilla along with his atomic breath accessory. Then there is a little bio on the bottom, so if you would like to read that, you can pause right now and read it on up. But anyway, that is the packaging. Let's get this figure over to take a closer look at this old school 1950s or 1960s Godzilla. I forgot when the movie came out, but it was a real long time ago. And real quickly, before we continue with this review, just need to give a big shout out and thank you to toynewsi for sending me this Godzilla to review. So be sure to check out toynewsi for figure news and other toy related topics and content. I will put the link in the description below. Alrighty, taking a closer detailed look, and I don't need to say it, but you guys know Neca does do a fantastic job all the time when it comes to the detail on their figures. They just are amazing sculptors, and the paint usually 90 or 95% of the time is executed extremely well. But the head sculpt here, I do have a little bit of that yellow paint from his eye on his eyebrow, which I could probably scrape off with like a razor or something like that, but the eyes look great. It kind of looks like he's looking derpy, but the eyes are painted like that to have Godzilla look down, so it looks like he's looking straight at you, which is a very badass look for Gojira. And then you can open his mouth. It is on a hinge, so you can see the inside of his mouth with that pinkish type color. The teeth are all sculpted and painted individually, which is definitely awesome. And my jaw was kind of off like that. I had to fix it and straighten it, and now it looks better. But even like the sculpting of his skin looks so awesome. That must take so much time to sculpt all that. But I like the very dark green to his skin tone with that brown mixed all throughout it. And then my favorite part of Godzilla are the spine pieces. I love the way those turned out with that whitish or that very light beige type color on it. And they are like a softer rubbery type plastic, as you can see right there. But those always look so cool to me on Godzilla. The torso looks pretty good. The arms and hands and everything. And hands, or the fingers, do have a hinge on them as well. Then the legs look pretty nice. Excellent sculpt on this. And then you do get that green and brown coloration all throughout the figure. And then we do get the Godzilla feet here with the toenails that are painted very well also. And the bottom of them, we do get some sculpt work and some peg holes. And then the tail here does have some nice articulation, which we'll go over later. But once again, great sculpt and paint all throughout it. I just wish that they kept painting these pieces like where the hinges, or where it hinges or moves up the joint, because then when you have it straightened out, it looks kind of weird, you know. But I mean, I guess just keep the tail like that or something. A very cool looking figure detail wise with the paint and sculpt. I really don't think Neca could have done any better of a job when it comes to the paint and sculpt. But anyway, let's continue on. Moving on to the accessories, we just get one thing included with this Godzilla, which is definitely better than nothing. I mean, it's kind of hard to figure out what type of accessories to include with a Godzilla. I would think maybe include like some small cars or tiny people or maybe some buildings or something, but atomic breath is always a must when it comes to a Godzilla figure, and Neca did a beautiful job with this one. It is like a whitish translucent plastic, then they added a nice white paint over it as well, and the sculpt of it looks so dope. I love the way this looks, the atomic breath here. Very cool looking, and it does peg into his mouth. As you can see, I don't know if you can see it, there is a peg hole in his throat right there. So all you would do is just peg that in, and then there you go. You have Godzilla using his atomic breath, which looks awesome, and it's definitely a smart idea. Instead of just using a stand to hold it up, I would prefer this over a stand. So definitely cool accessory to include with the King of Monsters. But anyway, that's everything included with this Godzilla. Let's keep moving on with the rest of the review, shall we? Now for the height of Godzilla, to the very top of his head, it looks like he's about 6.5 inches tall. And then here he is compared to the ESH Monster Arts Predator Wolf, the ESH Figure Arts Infinity War Hulk, the NECA Original Movie TMNT Raphael, and the NECA Arcade Appearance Hunter Predator. And then here he is compared to the ESH Figure Arts Majin Buu, the NECA Dark Horse Comics Machiko, the Scorpion Alien, and the AVP Ancient Warrior. And then here he is compared to the Storm Collectible Smoke, the SH Figure Arts Sage Mode Naruto, the Mifex Justice League Batman, and the Figma Black Swordsman Guts. And then here he is compared to the SH Figure Arts Awakened Warrior Super Saiyan Goku, and the Mezco 112 Deadpool. I know there's some quick comparisons. Let's keep moving on with the rest of the review. So now for the articulation, and this is definitely the weakest part to this figure. One thing I don't like about the articulation, I can't fix the legs so he can stand up straight. He's always standing on like an angle, and it just looks really weird. And I've owned SH Monster Arts Godzilla figures before, and they have some great articulation in them, and I know NECA can do so much better. But I mean, what we got with the articulation isn't too bad. But like I said, it definitely could be a little bit better. So as I mentioned before, the jaw can hinge up and down. You can get his mouth open about that much, which isn't too bad. And it can close, of course. We do have a joint. I believe it's a ball joint up at his head right here. So you can spin it all around. You can get him to look up that much. Looks down that much. You do get very nice pivot out of that upper neck joint. And then, of course, it does swivel. Then you do get another neck joint, a lower one that moves up and down a bit. You do get pivot out of that joint, and then of course it does swivel. So with both joints, you can get Godzilla to look down pretty well, and both joints he looks up about that much. Then combining the pivot with both joints as well, you get some nice movement combining both the joints is what I'm trying to get at. Then we do have a torso joint, which really is useless. It's just meant for a swivel here, which really does not swivel too much at all, and you really can't get it to pivot at all, and does not move forward and back at all. So like I said, it's pretty much a useless joint. The spine pieces keep running into each other, so you're really not going to get too much movement out of that torso joint there. The arms here, we do have a joint right at the shoulder, and you can get Godzilla's arms up pretty high. You could actually almost spin it in a full 360. You have to be careful with this piece because it will rub up on the plastic and cause damage to it. Now, it is a hinge, but I really can't get it to hinge out at all, man. Even on this side, it doesn't hinge out that far. So that hinge is almost useless. It barely moves in and out, you know? So it really not a good joint there. Then you do have an elbow joint that is so damn tight, or it just doesn't want to move. It bends in that much, and then you do get swivel out of it, so not the best movement at that elbow joint. And then the hands or the wrist, you can get a swivel, and then they do hinge back and forth, and then the fingers just hinge back and forth as well. So articulation at the arms. The wrist and the hands aren't too bad though. The legs here, I don't know if there's a hinge there. I mean, it slightly moves in and out, but very minimal. It's kind of really nothing, but you do get a little bit of a swivel, and the joint is just so tight, or you just can't move it any further out than that. So not the best leg joint there. Like I said, Monster Arts does kill it with their Godzilla articulation. Then the knee bends back about 2 clicks. As you can see, you can't really hear it, but you can feel the clicks in it. And then you do get the swivel there. Then for the ankles, I believe it's just a ball peg, so you can swivel it. Moves up that much, down that much, and then you get a little bit of an ankle pivot there. So not the best movement at the legs. You do get some very nice articulation at the tail though. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points of articulation. And when you take the figure out of the packaging, you do have to connect the tail right here, and it's extremely difficult trying to just pop it right on. So you're gonna have to heat up the peg hole on this part of the tail and then pop the other end of the tail into the figure, just in case you didn't know. So we do have a ball peg right here where the tail is connected at the body right there, so it does pivot, moves up and down, and swivels. Then you get the other point here that pivots, goes up and down much better, and swivels. And then you get the middle point here, as you can see, pivot, up and down, swivel, and then this point, pivot, up and down, swivel, and then the very end piece does pivot up and down and swivel, and you can get some good movement. Sorry, I hit the camera. You can get some good movement out of the tail, as you can see right here. It goes up and down, side to side, and can move all around. So the tail, definitely not an issue with the articulation, but everything else from the legs and the arms and the torso, really bad movement. I feel like NECA does need to work on their articulation with their Godzilla figures, because they would be a lot more fun if they worked in some better articulation. But you're not going to be able to put them in some crazy Godzilla-like poses. You'll be able to get them in a few basic Gojira poses, and I'm about to show you some of them right about now. But anyway, that is my review of the NECA Toys King Kong vs. Godzilla. Hope you enjoyed it. If I had to rate this figure between a 1 through 10, I'd have to give it an even 7. If you would like to know the price and where to buy this figure, I believe toynewsi got this from NECA's account on Amazon, so you can check online, and I'm sure it's at a local retailers like Target or your local comic book shop. Agelessgeeks does not carry NECA toys in stock, but you can get your other figures and collectibles from Agelessgeeks.com. If you can't find it on there, I would recommend going through their Instagram or Facebook page. I will put more information in the description below. And if you would like to support the channel, don't forget to subscribe and click on that notification bell. And if you liked it, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, oh well, I guess you didn't like it. But thanks for watching. I will see you later. And real quickly, before we continue with their and content as well, as long with and NECA, like usual, did a beautiful job. Beautiful. We just get one thing included with here, so you can look inside the mouth. You can see his tongue right there, the teeth look good and everything. Whoops, I kind of had his head above the screen. Thanks a lot, neighbor upstairs.